The truth is that we were betrayed, and I think the candidates were betrayed by CNBC, and we need to look out for the candidates in these future debates. But the truth is that what they promised was straight up finance. It's all spelled out there in the letter, and that wasn't delivered. They promised that they would have an open-ended question up front, kind of like a pseudo-opening statement about freedom or finance, something that was within the realm of CNBC's mission. That didn't happen. Instead, it was about your greatest weakness.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, more on the fiasco that was the CNBC debate. Tim Graham, Director of Media Analysis at the Media Research Center and editor of newsbusters.org, joins us. Hey, Tim.
Hello.
Well, you've written extensively on this in your capacity. Do you think Mr. Priebus there was hoodwinked? Shouldn't have expected what he got?
I think certainly when you look at the name John Harwood, we were warning people in advance that this was just another liberal media guy, not a finance specialist, not the guy who would host the show on the stock market. I think they thought this was going to be a business and finance debate, maybe a bit of a sleeper because they were going to be discussing mutual funds and medical savings accounts or something. And yeah, instead they got a bunch of ad hominem questions. I think it's fair to feel like that was not what we should have expected. On the other hand, it's the right thing to do than to object to it and say we are not going to stand for this again.
Absolutely. All right, so there's some revelations today. Before we get to the candidates' demands, we find out that the CNBC executive in charge at the site, a guy named Brian Steele, worked in the White House, in the Clinton White House, for Al Gore, and his wife also has, I think she's contributed to Hillary Clinton. Again, I mean, this is not surprising.
It is the liberal media. I guess that is an interesting piece of detail, but it's unsurprising. This is what the news media is. They are a bunch of people who vote for Democrats, contribute to Democrats. Sometimes their wives or their spouses contribute to Democrats because that's the way it gets done. I mean, I think that there is they somehow think it's outrageous for Republicans to say, you know what, we'd like at least one moderator who's voted for a Republican once in their life.
Yeah, I know. Well,
if they're mad about that, says, well, geez, that rules out hundreds of us.
Well, Larry Kudlow was sitting there. I mean, he's the senior correspondent for CNBC. No one knows business like Larry Kudlow, but of course, he's to the right. Is that why they didn't use him?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I certainly, again, before the debate said it would have been better with a Kudlow. I think that it would have been better with a Joe Kernan. That's not what we got in this debate. And it wasn't just the personalities. It was just this remarkable, what we counted, 65% of the questions negative, sometimes ad hominem, suggesting the candidates were not good leaders, were not good politicians, let's all list their weaknesses. Those are the kinds of questions. Again, we're not used to seeing them ask Hillary Clinton.
Right, and that was the MRC study that proved your point here, asked by Quick and Quintella and Harwood, 65%, as you mentioned. In contrast, Kramer, Santilli, and Epperson focused on policy matters. Let me run you a part of a clip that Fox has put out about their upcoming debate on Fox Business and the CNBC debate.
CNBC never asked the real questions, never covered the real issues. That's why on November 10th, the real debate about our economy and our future is only on Fox Business Network.
You think we could expect the real debate, quote unquote?
Well, I think the first Fox debate proved to you that that's not going to be a soft and easy debate. I think that would be a mistake, is if we're going to say, well, these questions won't be pointed. I think that would be a mistake for the candidates, certainly be a mistake for the people watching at home. But it might not be one of these things that basically suggests, aren't you a terrible leader?
Yeah. And here's what he said about you.
We can skip those.
Yeah. Very, very interesting to see what happens on the 10th. Now, going forward, you've read some of the demands the candidates have come up with. I got to tell you, when they get to they don't want it over or under 69 degrees, I mean, what are they, Madonna doing a concert by talking about a dressing room condition? I think they're going a little overboard.
I think this is, again, I think Ben Ginsberg, the Republican lawyer, saying this, in my experience, is the kind of things we've demanded in general election debates. Again, trying to avoid the tricks. Like, everybody remembers Richard Nixon in 1960, or at least a political junkie does.
Sweating, yeah.
Sweating. And, of course, in more modern vintage, we remember Charlie Crist always bringing a fan to put inside the podium.
Yep, that's true.
It can seem like it's too demanding, but again, what kinds of demands do the Democrats make? That's something that the Republicans...
That is a good question, and we're going to leave it at that.
I'm looking for those.
Tim, great segment. Thank you very much. Read them at newsbusters.org and mrc.org. We're coming back with the panel.